Rock Talk.
What if your take-home pay went down 25%? Where would you cut back? What would you do without? Senator Jeanne Shaheen cast the deciding vote for Obamacare. Now, employers may cut your weekly work hours from 40 to 29 to avoid the new taxes and penalties. Fewer hours, less money, tougher times. Tell Senator Shaheen you can't afford Obamacare.
3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of Grok Talk, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GraniteGrok.com.
Rock Talk.
All right, we are back for segment 4, the last segment of this week's show. Thanks a lot for hanging in there or listening. If you are, don't forget to check out cnht.org and granitegrok.com. We are, after all, bloggers, and we write all week long. And, boy, wouldn't it be neat if you were reading what we were writing? And many of you are. So,
yeah, I got the blue screen of death.
Blue screen of death. I can see that on the monitor over there.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
The worst thing a blogger can see.
We, if you didn't listen to this show yet, if you're listening to it now, how are you going to get that message? Hey, you know, you can listen to past programs on iTunes, iHeart, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, YouTube,
yeah,
Ustream.
Yeah.
I can't remember them all. And acnation.com. So,
and we try to get that message out, obviously.
We do, and if you hear us here and now, you can go to any of those places and you'll see our archive. We're up to show 73. So there's plenty of stuff to listen to.
And thank you, Steve, for spearheading this.
Thank you
stuff.
for having all this stuff we could use to spearhead with.
Yeah.
Right? Because without all this equipment, there's no show. And we do have a show, and we do have a guest, and we'd like to bring her on. I'd like to welcome to the program a candidate running in, I believe it was Bedford. She'll straighten me out if I'm wrong. Emily O'Neill, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks. So you're Bedford, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and you're a write-in?
Yes, I'm a write-in, and just to give you a little bit more information, I actually lost in the primary by 4 votes. We had a recount. Uh-huh. So there were 12 Republicans running for 6 seats. So I finished 7th with just 4 votes shy.
Oh,
heartbreak.
It is, yeah. So, well, that explains why you're running as a write-in.
That's right, and it's actually... it's something that was organic and grassroots.
Mm-hmm.
After realizing after the recount that I came up short for votes, it was actually my supporters who came up with the idea for the write-in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a contractor. I have my own business, and I got back to work because I had to take some time off during the primary. And it was during that time that I've been working on my contract that I see that my supporters have come out, and they've been writing letters to the editor. They've been pushing for different endorsements, and I was actually just endorsed by the Bedford Taxpayers Association.
Wow!
And how they reasoned that is that one of the 6 Republicans who won in the primary, they refused to endorse her because she has shown and has had a record being the chairman of the school board in Bedford for being in favor of higher taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So it was my understanding that she didn't come to them. So that's actually on top of her having a D rating with the New Hampshire Firearms Coalition and getting a 0% from the NRA.
You wouldn't want to share the name of that candidate, would you?
Yes, that would be Terry Wolf.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we have it on record. So
target practice.
Target practice. We have a whole 2 days, 3 days before an actual election happens. We could maybe write about that, couldn't we?
Yes, we can.
Mm-hmm. So.
Si se puede.
All right. So your supporters encouraged you to run as a write-in. You run as I've never run as a candidate for anything. So I mean, you just campaigning as a write-in. I mean, how's that working out?
So I had Bedford Taxpayers Association endorse me, as I had said, and and my supporters are writing letters to the editor, and also in the Bedford Patch. They've been voicing their support. So for me, it was important that it's humbling that it's supporter-led. And I didn't want people to get the impression that it's some kind of sour grape. Because when I look at it this way, Ken Peterson, who was close to me by 4 votes, he finished in 6th place. He's a good conservative. So it actually would have been a shame if I had beaten him in the primary and Terry Wolf was still in. So with that said, running is a write-in. To me, it's been really supporter led, and I'll be at the polls, handing out information. I have plenty that's left over from the primary, but it's extremely humbling that people have said to me, we want a real conservative in there, and we don't trust that someone who gets a 0% with the NRA and a D rating with the largest gun-friendly organization, gun advocates in New Hampshire, that they get a D rating. That's not a good thing for Republicans in an extremely Republican town. So you can bet that I'll be at the polls talking to folks.
Now, is there a concerted effort to kind of support you as the alternative to her? Instead of possibly taking somebody else's seat.
Yes. So to answer your question, when the Bedford Taxpayers Association sent out a mailer to every home in Bedford, they left her name, Terry Wolf's name, blank, and they put right in Emily O'Neill.
Okay. And I also understand. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I also understood that there was a powerful Republican with a lot of money in town who opposes you.
Yes, that's correct.
And that would be Bill Granier?
Yes, and it's important to note that he is a large contributor to Jean Shaheen.
Oh, he is, yes.
And I'm troubled to see that Republicans, I think that we need to stand in solidarity, but we shouldn't go over to the left to do that. That's compromising in the wrong direction. So for him to say that, to insinuate that I'm somehow extreme, I'd like to know how it's extreme to fight against tax raises and to stand up for gun rights and our liberties. I'm not sure how that's so extreme, but to see him try to influence Bedford politics, it's clear to me that if he wants to call himself a Republican, I don't view him as that. And to be frank, I've never met him, and I would just say to him, I'm a good conservative, and if you're going to call yourself a Republican, I think you should support true conservatives.
Yep, here we go again. The Gene Chandler version of a Republican is simply somebody with an R after their name. Join the club, Emily, because we've been called extremists for years because we follow the GOP platform, we like it, we think it's worthwhile, we actually follow the constitutions, and we espouse those principles all the time. Only in America with freedom of speech could we be called extremists for doing that. Welcome to our world.
Right, and it's absurd to me, and that it seems that the dial is moving now, and we're welcoming too many people aboard the GOP because we're moving in a more liberal direction. And I've posed this challenge question to people before. I'll say, so let me get this straight. With Republican meetings, people will say, well, we need to compromise and we need to reach across the aisle and compromise on these things. I would ask them, if you were to go to a Democratic meeting, are they saying that? Are they saying, guys, we need to be more conservative in order to get more? No, they're not. So
Rock shot.
The word that I've heard recently is capitulation. That's the word. It's not bipartisan. It's not reaching across the aisle. It's capitulation to the left's agenda.
Right. It's a good way of putting it, because compromise is one of those words you hear and you go, well, I think it's a good thing, but it's always we're selling ourselves, and as Republicans, we're getting more liberal ideas. how has the Democratic Party become more conservative? I can give you, we can sit here and talk about a million ways that the Republican Party has become more liberal. How has the Democratic Party become more conservative? That means we're losing, not winning.
Correct. And even though the media loves to castigate us for moving the party right, I've always categorized it as, no, we're not going to the right. We're actually going back to our roots, to where we began. But very seldom will they talk about what colloquially is called the new left, basically socialists and communists who have rebranded themselves as the new left, the rational, the reasonable people.
The old left is the new left.
Yeah, the old left really is new left, just dressed up in a suit instead of hippie garb. But they have dragged the Democrats far to the left, because you ask yourself, where are all the blue dog Democrats like the Zell Millers and all of those folks? Well, they've gotten purged just as well, but the media won't tell people that.
Right? And in the Republican Party, too, I worked for Congressman Justin Amash. And
oh, kudos to you.
He was kicked off the Budget Committee.
Yeah.
And it was for being too conservative. So while the Democrats were doing their purge for blue dog Democrats, and the Republicans were having their own purge. And it's unfortunate. And what I see, since I'm working on my own business, I truly believe that people need financial independence. And I see how Democrats are trying to suck people into this hopelessness that you need government for everything. And, I think that Republicans need to put a good spin on it and say, we have that hope here. And it's insulting to me as a woman how these female Democratic candidates are coming out and painting this picture that, Republicans hate women and we, they want to get rid of all these government programs. And, I'm sitting here as a female business owner going, no, I want hope and possibility for having a great business and progressing with this instead of going back and having to be financially dependent on someone. I thought that's what women's financial independence and liberation is all about. But I digress.
Oh, no, that's no digression at all. We're going to take a little 60-second break. Stay on the line. We'll be right back with Emily O'Neill.
In the morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested, riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is a repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
All right, we are back, and our guest is Emily O'Neill. She's running as a write-in candidate in Bedford, New Hampshire for the New Hampshire House, and we'd like to get into, I'm getting echoey, hey, there we go. I want to get into some of the issues. She's a small business owner, obviously, so business taxes and BET and all that stuff will be important, but we want to talk about those issues, Emily. What are your hot issues? I know, obviously, like I just said, as a business owner, taxes, the things that make it hard to run a business in New Hampshire. Talk to us about some of that stuff.
Sure. So when you look at New Hampshire's tax structure and you think about how we have an 8.5% business profits tax, if I'm a business or if I'm a corporation, Massachusetts has an 8% business profits tax. So why would you want to plant your flag in New Hampshire? And I think that New Hampshire is now. I want it to be the best place to start a business. I want it to be a great place for business owners to open up shop. But if we're not going to have a good tax structure that supports that, I understand that they would want to go somewhere where the business profits tax is lower. I mean, look at Texas with 1,000 new people moving there a day. They have a good business climate.